One of the most popular videos on my channel is a video I made a couple summers ago called "These Model Trains Are Worthless," where I essentially named a few select model railroad items that I often see people either trying to get ridiculous prices for, or things I just have a hard time selling for more than a couple of bucks. The nature of the video was pretty simple, I thought, and it did a lot for my model train store and really gave my business a lot of great promotion. But some people seem to take the video a little too personally, or at least think that my hair looks bad, so I thought today we would prove the haters wrong and go over 10 things that I appreciate and respect about lifelike trains. Number 1, the cost. One problem I think the model railroading hobby is facing in the present day is just how expensive it is. Even the cheapest O-gauge Lionel starter set now is a couple $100s, and that's a lot to spend on something you are just starting out or getting into. Lifelike always kept their prices pretty reasonable in my opinion. Now, the quality of their items and their value in the long term is a different topic, but I think that during their tenure, Lifelike always kept their price point in about the right spot for their beginner hobbyist market. Number 2, reliable transformers. I've had easily hundreds of transformers come through my store over the last 4 years, and I can say that with certainty, I've never had a Lifelike transformer that didn't work. So either I'm extremely lucky, or their transformers are built well and are reliable. For the sake of this video, let's go with the latter. Number 3, Scene Master and Proto 2000. Okay, so I wasn't planning on talking about their subsidiary companies in this video since I wanted to mainly stick to that true blue, lifelike brand we all know and love. But I knew I would get comments if I didn't at least mention the offshoot companies of Lifelike, which are both pretty awesome. Proto 2000 was a high-end range produced by Lifelike towards the end of their career as a model train manufacturer as an attempt to get in with the serious modeling community. I'm assuming that since Lifelike as a brand was always attached to the cheap stuff and that hobbyists really wouldn't have trusted them, when Proto 2000 engines were being produced, they wanted to make a new, fresh brand and image for the products, and I think that these engines are easily the best thing that Lifelike name was ever put on in any capacity. Scene Master was essentially Lifelike's version of Woodland Scenics, and I gotta admit, they made some pretty cool stuff under that range too. Once again, I think it provided good competition for Woodland Scenics, and Lifelike made a good range of products under that subsidiary. Number 4, the sets come with accessories. Accessories are, in my opinion, as essential to a train set as the set itself, as they give the buyer an insight into what their layout could be if they move forward in the hobby. Back in the day, most sets by most manufacturers came with at least the bare minimum accessories selection like signs and telephone poles. But I've noticed that as the big companies have started cutting corners over the last decade or so, that the once common palette of accessories has been lost over time. Lifelike did a good job of always, or at least the vast majority of the time, including some accessories in their starter sets. Number 5, packaging. Lifelike was one of the only model train manufacturers to package their rolling stock on pegboard sleeves like a Hot Wheels car, and I think that that was a better method of packaging than the standard boxes. It lets people see almost all sides of the car. You don't need to know a bunch of railroad lingo and try to decipher whatever the side of the box says if you're just starting out, and it's a lot more eye-catching. I really like that they did that. Number 6, they made a KFC, and I think that's cool. That's about all I have to say about that. Number 7, operating cars. This is something that I think the O-gauge market has always had the edge on, since the larger size lends itself better to making operating rolling stock, but Lifelike tried their hand at making operating cars as well. I don't think they were necessarily successful with it, and their accessories that wind up in my hands work about 10% of the time, but I commend them for at least trying to bring that interactive feel into the HO market. Number 8, easy to repair. One positive about Lifelike's simplistic designs to both engines and rolling stock is that they are easy to repair. HO scale is quite a bit more delicate than O and G gauge, the other two most common starter set sizes, so having trucks that don't require some microscopic screw to put back on, and engines with beefy handrails, and relatively simple mechanical designs is a pretty good thing in my opinion. Do their engines perform great? Well, in my opinion, no. But is fixing a Lifelike engine a lot easier than fixing about any other HO or O-gauge engine? I would argue yes. Number 9, road name variety. This is probably one of my biggest pet peeves with model train starter sets, recycled railroad names. It often seems like the only railroads that are put into entry-level sets are Santa Fe, Union Pacific, and Pennsylvania. Santa Fe, Union Pacific, Pennsylvania. Santa Fe, Union Pacific, Pennsylvania. And yes, Lifelike is absolutely guilty of this too. but they offered variety in their most affordable series that I don't see a lot of other companies doing. They had Amtrak, Chessie System, Conrail, Metra, and many other railroads represented in their most inexpensive offerings, and I think that was smart. Not everyone wants Santa Fe, Union Pacific, and Pennsylvania. And finally, number 10. Lifelike is undoubtedly better than New Bright. Need I say any more?